pushing, and then I touch him, I float. I do that, and it goes back. And I'm gonna be over him, I float him from here, and it still works. Hello. So we're going to practice floating and sinking in application a little bit. And so floating and sinking, lightness and heaviness, is special and important because it is the most direct physical experience of yin and yang, Qi. So Qi conveys information and conveys all kinds of things. It could be joyfulness and angriness. It could be feeling good and feeling bad, and all kinds of different things. It could be your qualities of your kidney Qi, your liver Qi, all kinds of things. But the one that's relevant to us in Tai Chi is how it affects our movement. And the most simple elemental form is floating and sinking. So you can think of, they said that the Tao, the source of everything before it becomes everything, is that the Tao is a universal energy. And it splits into yin and yang. That's the Tai Chi. So you have yin and yang. And you can think of that as yang is the floating, the lightness, and yin is a sinking, the heaviness. From there, the two poles of yin and yang divides into the four phases. And so it keeps dividing into until we get all the different things that reality contains. So this is the most basic yin and yang. And another aspect of energy as it comes through into physical form is that it rotates clockwise or counterclockwise. And we address that in other activities. Right now, I want to work on floating and sinking. So it'll be like this. If you take your hands and you push me, push. Yeah, so he's applying this pressure on me, okay? I'm gonna touch him, okay? Go and push. So he's pushing, and then I touch him, I float. I do that, and it goes back. So come again. So he's pushing. Okay, so let's just let myself not can push again. I'm here, I'm about to be pushed over. So let me take my foot, you maintain. So I put my foot down here. So instead of struggling against him, see if I fight against him like this, that's just a fight, that's just a struggle. He's pushing and I touch him, my foot floating. There's what happens there.
Yeah, the force is going like an upward arc.
In an upward arc, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so the fascinating thing about this is that it's not about pushing him upwards. Push me again. Okay, push, and then if I push him upwards to here, like this, I'm muscling him. I'm starting to get him to go over because I'm getting lower than him, which is good wrestling, but it's not the same, is it? Okay, so come again. What I want, he's pushing, is I float him, see, like this. Rather different, isn't it?
Yes.
So, and to further illustrate that, push me again. Right, so he's there like this, right? And I'm gonna be over him, I float him from here, and it still works. So I float him upwards with my hands over him.
One more time.
Yeah, one more time. That's what he's thinking too. His brain
I was like, okay, what's going on? What just
hourglass
happened
is still spinning. It's counterintuitive. He pushes. That's why I want to show it, so that we can break your intuition and so you have a new level of intuition, breaking your bottleneck. So if I'm under him, I could push upwards. What if I over? I float him now. See? You still don't get it.
It was like along, my bones.
Yeah, along your bones. Yeah.
It was like the line of force was like contouring against this. That's
your experience, right? Mm-hmm. So basically, it doesn't really matter where I touch him. Okay, I just create a floating energy. So push me like this, just so I can get a little closer to you. Bend your elbow more. Okay. Yeah. So he's pushing right here, right? And I touch his tummy, his ribs right here. I float him. So that's okay too. So I'm just flowing you from wherever I touch you. What did that feel like?
So you hooked onto my fascia?
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know, it's just like very little effort and touching, and then I'm like, expanding away.
Yeah. There's one more illustration. So let's say bend your elbow. So you're pushing me right here. Push like this. Okay. And don't let me push you back like this. See, like this. See, I float him. How hard did I push you?
Not hard.
Not hard, right? Come again like that. So it doesn't matter whether I touch him here. I float him, and then the energy floats. His force floats, and then you go back. So this is all lightness. This is all floating. Any questions so far?
No. not the sun.
You're not sure what to ask.
All right.
Yeah. So don't worry. It seems very mysterious, but the good thing is you can totally do it. I know based on everything else you've accomplished, right, that this is within your skill and within you guys' skill. I wouldn't bother teaching you this skill if you can't do it. Then I'd just be like sitting here annoyed at what's happening. Yeah.
Is this fascia manipulation or
No.
no, it's not at all.
It's not fashion manipulation. Come again?
No,
Push me.
it's-
Yeah, push me wherever you want to push me. So this is me struggling. This is fascia.
Okay.
So that has a certain feel to it, right?
Right.
Come again. And then this is like this.
It's floating.
Yeah.
Right, floating.
So fascia is a good building stone, building block, stepping stone. I mix up my metaphors. Okay, so come again. But fascia is an important training for this because you want to know where the fascia is and be familiar with it. Because what I want to float is I don't want to float his whole 170 pounds. That's a lot of things to float, okay? I just want to float the surface. So I mean, I just want the fascia to float. Once the fascia floats, everything inside floats with it, like a ship, right? The ship floats and all the cargo goes with it. I don't have to like think too hard about the cargo. Within tolerance. So let's come again. So all we have to do is, we have our basic Qigong, we practice floating and sinking feeling, right? So the essence of Tai Chi is where is your awareness? Where is the battle taking place? And better yet, where is there no battle taking place? So what do I mean by that? He pushes me. Go ahead. So yeah, go ahead. So he's pushing me, and there's this force. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's force, and I try to brace against it. And now we're fighting. My stance and strength versus his. So my awareness is on his force, and I'm meeting it with my force. And that may or may not work out for me, but it's not what we want to do in Tai Chi, right? So he pushes me. Once my awareness is in the fascia, then I could use the fascia to manipulate his coordination. And so he's wanting to push me. And then when I shift my awareness to the fascia and I start to move his fascia, whether I go straight or twisting, and he's like, oh, something's happening, and he's trying to fight against me, now the battleground has shifted to the fascia. But at the fascia, I have better awareness and control of it. I know this terrain. So the advantage is mine. Does that make sense? But he could push me. So if he pushes me and I go, I'm gonna do the fascia, but then he like pushes in the harder or something, I go, oh no, he almost got me, and my awareness went back to this. I've lost the control of terrain, so I'm gonna start losing again. So that was fascia. And then Song, I'm not as worried about fascia. I know the fascia. He pushes me, right? And when I focus on the sinking, expanding feeling in my body, my awareness is not on his force, but on my Song, on my comfort, on my expansion of my fascia. Does that make sense? So then that's also moves everything. And from there, I could begin to reflect his force back, or I could use Song and expand that force back through him. Yeah, maintain your force. So he like this. So this is fighting. This is I have Song, and then I Song back into it like that. So that's still, it's just a game of shifting my awareness. At the level of Qi, my awareness is not just on the expanding, relaxing, sinking feeling of the fascia, but on the sensation I want, the floating or the sinking. And currently we're demonstrating floating. So he's pushing me, and instead of thinking about focusing on I'm being pushed back, right? I focus on floating, and he can flow with me. So once I have the floating sensation in my body, right? Once my mind's on the floating, then I touch his fascia, and I let him feel the floating with me. See, he's floated. And then we let him go back. Does that make sense? Come here, Jay. Step up real quick. So I want you to experience this also. So you're pushing on me, push. And then here, this is me fighting with you. Don't let me push you over. So push. So this is us fighting, right? So push again, and this is you floating. So what's that like?
Quite nice.
Quite nice, exactly. Actually, that's an excellent comment, because that is key to what this is. This is I'm changing his experience. Okay, so if you push me, and then I go, oh, but I'm going to get lower. I'm going to push him over. Okay, I won, but that did not feel so nice. That feels like, we had a workout, we had a match, right? That's exciting, perhaps, but it's not the same thing. But if you push me again, right, I float you, and you go back.
And that's a little nicer.
That's a little nicer. Yeah. So this is changing the experience. We're not fighting force. We don't have a battle. What we're doing is he's pushing me, and instead of me going, you push me, I push you, let's push, let's push. No, he pushed me. He's like, you know what? I have something fun to share with you. Floating is really cool. Yeah. All right, thank you so much, Jay. So come on back, Bo. It's more like he wants to fight, but I want to tell him a joke or a cool story or an inspiring story or whatever. And that story is float. And so we share that with them through the touch, through my fascia to his, and the chi delivers that message, that story. It downloads into him. He experiences that floating, and suddenly his push has become a float. And then I can send him back or send him around or something like that. Does that all make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay, so it's time for you to do it.
Okay.
Okay, so you know how to feel floating. And so because you've all done the Qigong, the basics, you've experienced that. And all you have to do is keep experiencing that in the face of something other than that.
Okay.
So a partner is going to press on you. And don't push so hard that he has no time. If I just go, you know, like that's a little bit tight on your timing to be able to get it right. So come forward a little bit more. So I'm just going to lean on you with enough pressure so you feel it, but not so much that you're falling over just yet. So, but I am seriously pressing on you. And then get yourself to put your hands on me, and then feel floating, and then feel that floating spot, in your body and in my fascia, right? And then once you feel I start to float, then you could just move me any which way. That was actually pretty good. See here, I'm pressing upon you. Find your floating, and then touch me and send that into my body. Yeah. I recommend that you touch me after you find your floating, so it'll be more clear to you.
Okay.
I mean, in like push hands, we're already touching anyways,
Got
right?
it. Okay.
But for this purpose, right, push me. So here I'm just receiving you with my stance for now, right? I feel floating, and now you're starting to float, but then I really give it to you. Then send it back to him, okay?
Okay.
Okay, your turn. Yeah, and then touch. Yeah. You feel that transition in my own force, in my posture?
Yes.
Yeah. What was it like?
Feels like a water balloon filling up, and then it transfers into you.
A water balloon that transfers into me. Very cool. Yeah. Okay, good. I was giving you a lot more resistance that time.
I could feel it.
Yeah. So as your partner gets more familiar, you can start putting more pressure upon them and let them. And what you're testing them is their ability to maintain their focus on floating. It's like when Gautama Buddha sat beneath the banyan tree to become enlightened, and all the demons were trying to confuse him and distract him and tempt him. You had to stay focused for however many days. It's like that. Your ability to stay focused, even when the push is strong, when the punch is coming, or whatever scary thing, threatening thing is happening. So push on me. So really push. He's pushing hard. Push hard. Push hard. Push hard. I want to still float him. Right? And so push. So here I'm struggling. We don't want to get into struggle. We want to stay centered. You want to float. See, I got him float. See, there's nothing left, and then we send him back like that. So you can start a little bit easier by having your hand underneath them, because that kind of makes sense for your body, and then put your hand on your side of them, and then put your hand on top of them finally, so that you shift less and less from geometry more towards the actual qualities, the experience of floating. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so let's give this practice a go. Good job. Okay, enjoy your practice.